know, it's definitely like this.
We are live, everybody. Episode 15. We're back with the Jader and Kyle show. Welcome back, everybody. It's been a fun ride so far. We're staying strong. Jader's still figuring out the fingers, but we're getting to it.
We got it, man.
Jader, how you been, man? It's been a long week. We had to push it back a couple days.
We had to push it back a couple days, man. Yeah, man. It was well, obviously we did the birthday episode last week with Ellis. So my birthday was on Monday. I'm the big 3-4 now. And then right after it happens every year for the last 9 years. Right after my birthday, we got my son's birthday. He was born July 18th. It was his 9th birthday on Saturday. Mm-hmm. This is the first party I want to say that it was like not split between parents. Like she usually would help me with her party, and I would help her with hers type stuff. But this time it was all my side of the family. So actually, a really neat story I wanted to share with everybody was one of my buddies. He's a lieutenant in the fire department here in the city of Miami, and my son's dream is to become a firefighter. Like, yeah, he's obsessed with being a firefighter. I mean, again, given he's a kid and all that, but I just love how he goes crazy every time he sees a fire truck or sees a fire station. And he goes on YouTube and knows about fire alarms and fires, and he even knows what a backdraft is, like the whole nine, right? Yeah. And so I called a buddy of mine up, and I've known this guy since we were 12 years old. We grew up together. Obviously, we don't talk as much anymore because we have our own lives. But it's every time we call, it's, hey, how's everything? How's the family? Yada yada yada. And so I hit him up, and I asked him if there's any way we can give him a tour around the fire station. And he's like, dude, let's do it. So we went down to Brickell, which is where his station is at, and he gave him a tour, man. He got him in the fire truck, made the whole noise, put him in a fire suit, helped him hold an axe, the whole nine, man. It was just a beautiful thing. And the light in my son's eyes of how happy he was for his birthday was, it was priceless. So shout out to him for making it happen, because it really put a smile on his face and mine as well, because he did not shut up about that station, throughout the whole time. So it was pretty great. Well,
you can hold that over him now every time you misbehave. Like, hey, remember what I did for you on your birthday? So happy birthday to your son. That must have been fun. I don't remember most of my childhood parties. There was like a farm one time that we had at ours where we had like a bunch of little chickens and cows and stuff like that. But most of it was just little fun get-togethers. So it must have been good for you as a parent to experience that again. You get to do it every single year. But we are not alone this week. This week, we're joined by a guest that we've been planning to have on for quite a while. Jader has become very good friends with this person, and we're going to be happy to have him on the show. Jader, you want to set this up?
Absolutely, man. Today, we are joined by none other than Craig Gaynier, the Barbarian. Welcome, bud.
What's going on, gentlemen? How's it going? Good to be here. Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the show, Craig. It's great to have you. You are known as the Barbarian. That is by most people. The Barbarian. First, let's go into that conversation. How'd you get that name? Where'd that come from?
As is the case with many nicknames in the Schmodown, it came from Christian Harloff.
Surprise!
Yeah, the day that I showed, so Christian and I had spoken about me joining the league, and I've known Christian for about 16 years now, and but I hadn't seen him in person in a little while. So the day I showed up, the last time I'd seen him before, we got involved in all this. I used to have my hair cut real short. Sometimes I'd have a goatee or whatnot. Very different look than I have now. And so I show up, and I came in with like 4 different pitches for what my character would be. And as soon as he saw me, he's just like, "Oh, I'm going to call you the Barbarian." And I was like, "No, that's it." I was like, "All right, done."
There's no arguing with Karloff, I'm pretty sure, right, guys?
Yeah,
absolutely not. No, that he deems you your name, and you just take it, man. You take it.
Roll with it.
Hey, the man's a genius. The man's a genius.
Yeah,
can't argue with success.
So you and Jader met on Jader's first shoot.
I'm not sure if Kyle's frozen because I can't hear him. He's just smiling at me. I'm gonna apologize in advance. My internet's been a little wonky lately, so. to you guys, my internet will seem fine, but to me, I will not be hearing or seeing some things for a little bit. So right now, Jader's frozen, but Kyle's all right. Now I'm seeing both of you guys.
You got me? All right. Can you hear me?
I can hear you both now. I can hear you both.
All right, perfect. So Craig, I want to get into. So you and Jader met on the first day of shooting, basically. Well, you got your guys' first day of recording, right? Your matches.
What was it?
No.
Or
it was my match, but he was just there to join us that day.
To hang. So for the tape days, we tape several matches in a day, and I just show up no matter if I have a match scheduled or not, because you never know if they'll need me to walk out with my faction or if they want to shoot a scene for before or after and whatnot. And of course, in Jader's match, Christian came up to me. He's like, "Hey, crash the post-match interview."
Which is where I got named the Tornado, and now my friends like to call me the Tornado. Some of my family members are like, "Hey, Tornado," and I was like, "Oh, great, dude! This shit really stuck, dude. It's funny as hell."
Stand back! There's a tornado coming.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to use that sometime, But yeah, so yeah, and the crazy part is that it's like I don't know when exactly it happened, but I don't know when he told you, but because Brittany Young went first for the post game interview, and then I went after, and then Harloff came around. Harloff is running around like you don't see that obviously, but this man is running back, He's shooting promos in the front. People are, it's nonstop. So he's like, "Hey, good job, man! You did really well. He's like this and that and that," and then he goes, "Have fun." So I guess he had just told you, and I was like, "Have fun," and then I don't remember if it was Guy or so. He's like, "Oh, that means probably somebody's gonna crush the interview. Just go with it." I was like, "All right, cool." So it is what it is.
So I don't actually recall if it was during the match or after the win or whatnot. But I was sitting with Jader's girlfriend at the time watching the match. We're just hanging out talking during the match, and I was sitting with her when Christian came up to me and said, "Hey, after the match ends, I want you to crash in on the post match interview." So but that was a lot of fun.
Mind you, since I had just seen his match too, and I was like, "Fuck, bro. How's he gonna do this to me, man?" Oh man.
Jader was telling me all about it afterwards. He was like, "Yeah, Craig was like, really cool. We were sitting together in the stands, but he came and crashed my interview. I don't know what
the hell happened, dude."
He thought we were cool, and then I just came in and was like, "What's up, bitch?" Am I allowed to curse on the show?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good. Cool.
You're good. I have the worst one. This is not backstage, sir. This is the Jader and Kyle show where everything goes. But what was I gonna say? Man. I tell the story. I told the story on Call to Action, on backstage. Every story. I don't know if you've seen the episodes where I'm on, but every single person's like, the first game jitters. What happened? I'm like, oh, they were definitely there,
and I'm frozen there for me.
And then I'm like,
you're telling the story though about.
This is great.
It's good, man. It's good.
Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, I tell the story over and over about how you.
There we go. You're unfrozen now. I'm assuming what you just related to people was the story about you were having your first game jitter. You said you were having the first game jitters, and I made sure that you had a little JMO. Wait, no, it wasn't. Did I have JMO with me?
No, it wasn't JMO.
I had my rye, right? I had my bullet rye.
Yeah, bullet. Yeah, it was bullet. It was fantastic. Kyle is like dying right now.
The show's gonna be a train wreck, and I love it. We need it.
It's good. I know what he was saying. It's good. It's gonna be fun. It's fun.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
So yeah, Jader, go ahead, man. Go and finish your story.
Well, that's pretty much it. He gave me the whiskey, calmed me down a little bit. Everything was good. I did my promos with two cups of bullet in me, and I felt great.
So, Craig, you've been busy, man, in the Schmodown with everything coming up. Right now you have a semifinal and Inner Geekdom coming up, and then you're going to have the singles, which we'll get into in a sec. But tell me about this Inner Geekdom. You've got what we just saw yesterday to be Chance Ellison instead of Robert Parker.
So for a second, so you prompted me to talk about Inner Geekdom, so I'll just start talking about Inner Geekdom. So, when I joined the league, one of the things I said to Dagnino was that because I watched a lot of matches in between when I, said I wanted to join the league and when I, first started. And I told him, look, right now I could come in and compete at like at a high level contender level for the singles. And I would like to eventually compete in Intergeekdom, but there's going to be a lot of stuff. I need to study for it, but I can do it. And it's this year and this season has been very difficult for everyone, and especially so for myself, as I'm sure a lot of you are aware. I know Jader is very, very aware. My wife passed away in the middle of the pandemic from cancer. It was all very, very tragic and very traumatizing. And then in the middle of all this, they announced, so it was actually the, between her passing and before the funeral, they announced the Intergeekdom tournament. And I initially told my faction that I wasn't going to compete in it. I just said, because we had other people that were interested, Emily, of course. And, Dan Merle had previously said he was going to be involved, interested. But, so I initially turned it down. But, the day of the funeral, I got a call from Dagnino, and we talked about it. And I said, you know what, this could be good for me. Let's do it.
Everybody, episode 15. We're back.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's all good. This is the technical difficulty episode. But
There you go.
yeah, but really, I mean, I'd seen all these movies before, but I hadn't really studied them for Intergeekdom level play yet. And so I began my wife's funeral was May 8th. And so I began studying May 9th. My first match was June 1st. So, it's like, as the matches progress, you'll see that my familiarity with the material becomes, better and better. And so that, that first match I had 3 weeks to prep for, and then I had another 2 weeks before my next match, another 2 weeks before my next match after that. So all told, I had, somewhere I probably had 6 to 7 weeks before the match that's going to appear this week. And, like I said, with each match, my comfort level with material became better. My knowledge became wider. And, I know that I can beat Kevin Smets with enough lead time. It's just going to be a matter of, do I get that amount of lead time to get a chance to do it this year, or will it take me until next year yet to do it? I don't know. But I have the will and the ability to do it. It's just a matter of the time.
Well, I mean, you got a big match coming up this week against Chance Ellison, and something else I really realized is that you and Jader are both rookies, and obviously there's that award for Rookie of the Year out there. But it feels like for you two, you guys don't really even care about that. It's more just about winning and having fun in this. I don't see Jader; he hasn't really talked about it too much. I tried to get him hyped up for it recently. He's like, "Yeah, I just want to win. I just want to have fun."
Yeah, it's honestly that's what it is for me, dude. I want to win. I want to show that
you guys are both
I was lucky enough that I was lucky enough to be in this league, and I know I can compete. Kyle, you've seen me. Yep. I feel like when we saw the live event, I don't even know if I missed, besides the Hosier's question, I probably missed one or two throughout that whole night. There was not much that I missed. So I know I can do it. It's Kyle. Craig is just nodding along.
I can actually hear you now. I didn't want to interrupt you because you were on a good run there. Sorry.
No, it's all good. But yeah, I mean,
we need to work out a safe word like pineapple.
No, Craig. So what we're gonna do is, if we freeze on you, just keep nodding, and as soon as we're not frozen, stop nodding. That's how.
Stop nodding. Yeah,
okay, we'll do that. So I will not. So I will try not to agree with anything you guys say until.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
there you go.
I will not nod. All right.
But I honestly, if we're there for Rookie of the Year, man, that's fine with me. It's not something that I'm after. It wouldn't feel bad to win it. Obviously, our first year here, but it's not something I'm really focusing on. I'm more focused on what the competition is versus the award.
Of course.
So Kyle, I'm nodding because I can't hear Jader right now, but I can hear you. It's a weird.
Perfect. All right, so Jader's not talking right now, so it's you and me, Craig. Let's get into real quick. The last showdown we'll talk about is the singles tournament just got announced, and I think both of you got really tough draws. With you, Craig, you're going up against Whitney in the first round and a very likely Bibiani in the second round. Are you if you to move on? And then Jader on the other side, you've got Jim Vejvoda in the first round, and then either Tom or Tim Franco in the second round. It's a challenge everywhere in this bracket. So, Craig, let's start with you, man. How are you feeling going up against the critically acclaimed bunch right there?
You know, and even there, it's it's not even guaranteed that it's going to be Bibiani because there's all this hype around James White, and who knows? Maybe he's as good as people said he was, and he will beat. Maybe he can beat Bibiani. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen crazier things happen in these tournaments, so it's impossible to know how it's going to shake out. But as far as the likelihood of my opponents, I mean, first round is Whitney Seibold, who. While he's an 0-2 singles player, he's a very accomplished teams player, and he's just clearly a very knowledgeable person about films, and he's been in this league for a while. He knows the game very well, and he's just a really strong competitor. So, so I'm not taking him lightly in the slightest. And then after that, should I beat him, I'm most likely going to face William the Beast Bibiani, who is one of the best players in the game today. Like he's right up there with your Merles and your Batemans and your Rokas and your Rileys, and your Irwins. And I'm sure I just offended someone by not saying your name, but
as long as I wasn't Roka, I think you're good.
Exactly. No, I made sure I said him before. I kid. No, Roka's. Roka might not even be in the tournament because he might be the champion at that point. I have full faith 100% that Roka is going to beat Ethan Irwin. You heard it here first. John Roka is going to beat Ethan Irwin, hands down.
And that's saying because Ethan's your friend, right?
Yeah.
Hashtag facts.
Oh, there it is.
And you're friends with Irwin, aren't you?
Yeah, I know I've known Ethan actually even a little bit longer than I knew Christian. We all used to work together. So it's like Ethan was an executive and Christian was an assistant, and then I started out as an intern, and then I became a script reader for them. So, we all worked together for, several years, and then we kept in touch as friends and whatnot since then. And so Ethan's actually a large reason why I got into the league. I was at we were at a mutual friend's birthday party, and Ethan at the time he'd lost his championship, but I knew he'd been champion. I'd seen him posting about it, and him and his wife posting about it on Facebook. And so I, at this party, he's telling me about the Schmodown. And I get home, and I, a couple days later, Liz Shannon Miller, who I also knew through Ethan and that circle of friends, had her debut match. So I watched that match, and I did very well playing along at home. And I said, oh, I could do this. But at that point, I didn't know if it was something that I could just reach out to Christian about, or if it was something that he was, because Liz is Liz has a lot of internet.
She has credentials and stuff.
Yeah, she has bylines and whatnot. Ethan's a huge movie producer, so I didn't quite know. It's is this someone they just let some schmo off the street in who knows movie trivia, or is it just about the people with credits? So I didn't, I watched it a little bit, but didn't really follow along. And then Christian was, kind of solicited for people with movie trivia on his personal Facebook feed. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I was like, I know movie trivia. And he's like, all right, you're in. And
if things could be so simple.
Jader had to win a contest, and Craig just had to ask.
Well, the difference is I live and work in Hollywood, and you live and work in Florida, so it's
a lot easier. I mean, I'm just grateful that out of all everywhere they went to Chicago, Houston, they chose Florida, and I happened to be there. That for me is. I can't thank them enough for that, because I was talking to Ellis prior when actually before the draft. I went out with Ellis and went out with Ellis BC and Dagnino right before the draft, and Ellis told me that he was completely against it, getting a fan from that, and he goes, and this is why Christian is the genius that he is. He goes, honestly, he's like, I'm glad it was you, man. He goes, you're such a laid back dude, man. You obviously know your shit. And he goes, and because Christian did this, we're able to meet people. He's like, don't get me wrong, the fans and everything. He said, that's great. And that's one thing I always give him kudos for. And I've said this repeatedly on shows, how they treat the fan base is incredible. I've never seen that one negative interaction with any of them. But he said from the get that he was kind of against the whole Orlando thing. And he goes, and look, I ended up, meeting a friend, which is insane, So thank you, Christian Harloff.
And I mean, and look, at the end of the day, you bring something new and something valuable to the league. Like, you're it's that I don't want to put get your head too big, but like, you have this everyman charm about you. You've got you're very personable, and you're good at the game, and it's
cheers, brother.
Cheers.
I appreciate that, sir. I wish I should pour me some whiskey now.
Mm-hmm. I'll pour myself some whiskey instead of this Truly. I know you were making fun of me earlier for drinking this Truly. But truly, I mean that statement.
There you go, man.
Truly now. Jader, do you want to touch real quick on your first round matchup?
Yeah, man. The same thing. Kind of piggybacking off what Craig just said, man. I'm not taking it lightly. I was told 2 different competitors, so I was kind of like, I was like, all right, let's see who I have. And then when I was told it was Jim, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, again, just like he said about Smets, with time and everything, I know, and I'm very confident that I can beat Jim. It's just it always depends on the questions that you get. You never know. there could be an episode where you go perfect, which we saw this man do his debut match,
Mm-hmm.
and there's just times where it's just or the wheel ends up fucking you. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what's going to happen. But I am going in with confidence. I really am. Again, this weekend and even today has been stunning.
I can't hear you right now, but Kyle, I can hear you.
Keep going, Jader. You're almost there.
Yeah.
But overall, that's it. Like, I'm looking at one match at a time. I'm not even looking at the bracket.
Perfect.
There you go. So,
all right.
I'm gonna get a neck injury from all this nodding. Can I say this real quick though? I actually am very confident that you can beat Jim David. I see you. If I were filling out a bracket, which I don't know if we're allowed to for legal gambling purposes or whatnot, but if I were to fill out a bracket, I would take you in that match. And I think you know the game better than Jim does. I don't think he understands. Like, he still doesn't. He doesn't have the. He has some good knowledge, but he doesn't have perfect knowledge, and he doesn't have the love and understanding of the game that you bring to the table.
Yeah, no, and I love the game, man. I'll tell you that much. I absolutely love this game. So yeah, thank you,
Jader. I know you can get on yourself, man, about being nervous and you get really uptight about this stuff. But man, let me say, you got this. Just concentrate. We're rooting for you on the show. So let's get into our movie. So when Jader suggested bringing Craig on the show, the Barbarian, he said he reached out to you and he said there was one film that you really wanted to talk about, and that film that we chose is The Big Lebowski.
Yes.
Craig, what is it about The Big Lebowski that made you say this is the one I want? Oh, time out.
Time out. There's 2 films that he told me he wanted to talk about. One was Infinity War, and one was The Big Lebowski. But we had just done a 4-hour MCU episode that I was like, hell no, I'm not talking about the Infinity War. So that's why we picked The Big Lebowski.
We're gonna have. I'm at the point now where I think we should just strike the MCU episode from the archives and then allow these Marvel films to get chosen in the future. But we're on The Lebowski right now. Craig, once again, man, what is the film? Why did you choose this film as the one you want to talk about?
So both Infinity War and Big Lebowski are top 5 all-time favorite films for myself. Big Lebowski, when it came out, so I had already become a huge Coen Brothers fan before Big Lebowski, largely through Raising Arizona and Fargo. And Fargo was 96 and Lebowski was 98. And so when the trailers for Lebowski hit, that's at that point I was like a junior in high school, and I was maybe a sophomore in high school. I forget exactly which part of the time of the year it came out, but it was. We just having seen the trailers, my friends and I were just so already we were already sold on the film about how genius it was going to be, and we planned this huge outing for the film where we had 16 people, 13 men and 3 women, all dressed in like, the men were dressed in suits and ties and the women were dressed in dresses. And it was just like this big, like we made it like a big to-do for our friend group. And the movie did not disappoint in the slightest. And over the years, as I've probably rewatched it 50 times, and I feel like I gained something new with each viewing. And it's like moving out to Los Angeles. There's some stuff that I understand now that I didn't understand watching it then. Like, it's a very Los Angeles film, and it's also there's just been other things over the years that it's like but the depth of my love for it keeps growing as my depth of understanding of it keeps growing. It's just such a layered and faceted film.
It feels like one of those films that it really takes a couple watches for it to kick in. Because I know a lot of people who said that they watched this film, they're like, I don't get what all the hype's about. I don't know why people love this so much. And then they watch it again and they start to grow and more in love with this thing. So Jader, you too, man. Big Lebowski. What's your perspective on it? What do you see about Big Lebowski?
Same. Actually, it's crazy that Craig said that he was a sophomore in high school, because I was in elementary school when this came out. And you weren't born. Oh no, you were one. You were one. No. You were born in '97, weren't you?
Yeah.
Child, please.
This came out in '98. So you were one.
Right.
But same thing. And I did not see this in theater. Actually, a friend of mine actually saw it while I was in elementary. And he said that his dad said it was the funniest movie he had ever seen. So I was like, all right, we got to watch this. This is, again, coming from somebody that grew up loving comedy, Mm-hmm. And when I saw the movie, I really didn't get it. I some parts made me laugh, but I didn't get it. It wasn't until I got older that I think this is a gem. Yeah. I absolutely love this film. It's such a bizarre film, from the psychotic Vietnam vet friend, from the crazy competitor named Jesus, to the art nut who wants him to be the baby daddy, to the millionaire that wants to find the trophy wife. It's just so bizarre. And the German nihilist that kidnapped her. It's just insane, and it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier every time, and it just holds up for me, man.
It's one of those films that shouldn't work as well as it does. Because you think about it, like this just chill, laid back person who gets caught up in a money scandal, and he loves bowling, but he's also really just doesn't care about anything.
Doesn't care about anything.
No, and the Coens even really I know they love this movie, but also they're not even that high on it either. When you hear them in interviews, they say like, yeah, I'm surprised people love it as much as they do. I read before that they wrote 40 pages of the script and they kind of went away from it, and then came back to a while later and finished writing it. And now it's, when you think of the Coens, you think of what? Fargo, No Country, and probably The Big Lebowski. Those are probably their biggest three that you think about now. And to think about their legendary careers, that's really saying something considering them. Let's get into the Jeff Bridges of it, though. Jeff Bridges, Bridges has said this is his persona in a way. Like, he is the dude in real life, and now he's the dude in this film. Craig, how do you see Jeff Bridges? Like, is this one of his performances that kind of defines him?
Yeah, 100%. It's a career-defining role for him. When you say that, it's funny because I went back and did a rewatch of Tron and Tron Legacy, and when I initially saw Tron Legacy in theaters, I hadn't previously seen the original Tron yet, and so I initially assumed that his performance of Tron Legacy was just him doing the Big Lebowski, and then I went back and rewatched Tron and said, oh, actually, he was already doing that kind of a shtick with the original Tron. But and then I think about. Back when John Goodman received his much-deserved star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame,
he showed up as a dude.
He showed up and gave his speech as the dude, and it was brilliant. And it's and I've seen Bridges in a few different panels at Comic-Con these days, and like he just very much just kind of like embodies that that persona, and it's. I feel like we could all strive to be a little bit more like the dude. I will say real quick, though, you say he doesn't care. It's not that he doesn't care about anything. He doesn't want anything. He doesn't want anything, and he tries not to let things bother him.
Except for pissing on his rug. That will not stand.
Yeah, this aggression will not stand.
That's
man.
And we'll get into some of those lines because some of those lines are pretty legendary. Let's talk about the bowling too. Like, I think people look at this on the outside and say, "Oh, that's a fun bowling."
I'm seeing you, Jader, but I'm not hearing Kyle's question.
Perfect. So this movie's not. I'll let Jader take off from this after his words, but this movie isn't really about bowling, but people look at it as a bowling movie. So. This is so funny to me whenever he says
really Pineapple. What's up, Kyle? What were you asking?
Oh, good. He didn't ask a question yet.
He breaks me. So yeah, it's not even really like a bowling movie, even though on the surface people might think it is. But the bowling kind of encapsulates the tone of this in a way, because when you go and play bowling, it's a fun competitive thing. It's also very laid back, and that's how I feel about this film. So Jader, if you want to take this, how do you feel about the bowling aspect? Do you think about this movie when you go and bowl?
Yeah, no, absolutely. This and Kingpin, those are the two that I think about. But it really isn't. I don't consider this one of those. You having another one, aren't you? What happened to the whiskey, man?
This is crazy, man. It's so tasty. It tastes so good. It tastes so good.
I don't blame you. But I don't see this as a sports film by any means. But I noticed that some people are like, "Oh, it's that bowling movie." I'm like, it isn't. But they're like, no, yeah, you can consider it a sports movie here and there. Like, you can't argue that fact. Me personally, I think about obviously the bowling alley scenes when I'm in a bowling alley, but I necessarily wouldn't call it a bowling film whatsoever. Actually, it's this is more of a, I don't even know, it's a comedy, obviously, but
yeah, it's a noir comedy. And Jader's frozen for me, so I'm going to nod a little bit.
Keep going. No,
Jader, perfect. And I'll say, yeah. No, it's a noir. It's a like noir dramedy with bowling as a backdrop. And it's like, yeah, you could argue that it's a quote unquote sports movie, but it's not really a sports movie. Like you could it's just one of those things that people like to argue. People like to argue for the sake of arguing. We'll make that argument. But in terms of like how the bowling fits into the movie, it's I've never actually really thought that much about it. To this question, other than the fact that it's a very useful tool for them to. I mean, it serves so many different purposes throughout the film. One of which is the foreshadowing of Donnie's demise, because throughout the film, every time Donnie's bowling, he hits a strike, except for the final ball he throws. He does not get a strike, and then he dies. And there's other things throughout. I mean, it's a very useful centralized place for the group together. And it's, I think what you were saying before though, just about it, the kind of like the the duality of it, of being something that's both a laid back and, some people can be both laid back and hyper competitive. And a lot of the film is about just like kind of the duality between the dude and Walter.
So, I mean, we're going to jump into the categories here in a sec. I've been scrambling because for some reason all my categories just deleted. All my notes are gone. So I'm going to do this off memory from here. So let's just dive into it right now. So we're going to start with the categories. Craig, Jader sent these to you, right? I just want to double check to make sure you have them. Oh, he's nodding, so he's not hearing.
I see Jader, but I can't. Jader's live from Kyle isn't. Sorry.
Okay, no, it's all good. It's all good. He's asking about the questions that I sent you that we were.
Right, now Jader's frozen for me and Kyle isn't. Good.
Okay, so yeah, this is amazing. You got the categories, right? Jader sent those to you. I just want to double check to make sure.
Yeah, I got them here. Let me pull them up.
All right, perfect. So we're going to start off with the categories. We're going to go into best scene. What is when you go back and watch this film, you can only watch one scene. What is your favorite scene when you see this film? Let's start with you, Jader.
The scene that always gets to me, and it's gotten to me even the first time that I saw this movie, I died of laughter on a scene that you shouldn't be dying of laughter because it's a sad scene. is when they're doing Donnie, sorry.
His funeral.
Yeah.
You mean Theodore Donald Kiribatsis?
Yes, dude. And he just, tosses it out in the wind and it just sprays all over. That scene kills me every single fucking time. And that's the one scene for me that I mean there's a bunch more, to be completely honest with you. When he goes crazy with the golf club is one scene that comes to mind. And obviously the famous over the line scene that kills me all the time. But for me, the direct funny bone scene for me is it's Donnie's the eulogy, I guess we can call it.
Mm-hmm.
When the bro, and I know, and the thing is that you're kind of sad, obviously, because Steve Buscemi is another one that he's terrific in this. But that scene, it's just every time, and on the rewatch that I did, it just every time it doesn't miss the beat. Every single time that I see that scene, I crack up and I'll rewind it like 3 or 4 times, and then I'll just continue watching the film. But that's probably my favorite scene of the film.
Nice. No, it's a very good choice. I mean, look, I feel like I wouldn't disagree with anyone for any single scene in this movie. For me, so it's really hard to pick one, but I think for me, what really stands out in a scene that has such amazing dialogue throughout, that one of my favorite scenes is one with 0 dialogue in it, which is when the dude is driving home from his doctor's appointment and he sees Delfino, played by John Polito, following him, and it just becomes like it's a great example in the film of when the dude actually tries to do detective work, that it goes horribly wrong. Like this in the scene in Jackie Treehorn's place is another one where it's like, he's mostly just stumbling his way through it, but then when he actually tries to do detective work, things go horribly awry. And in this scene, it happens where he, realizes that he's being followed, and he's smoking a joint, tries to throw the joint out the window. The joint lands in his lap, and then he's drinking a beer. He tries to put the beer out put the speed out with his beer, and then he crashes into a dumpster. And it's like the escalation of that scene is just like textbook screenwriting, and it's just like a great physical comedy sight gag in a film that's otherwise just filled with witticisms. And so that's why, for me, I put that as my favorite.
I'd always jump to the parking lot scene with the fight at the end, because I know that's like the biggest one, that or a couple of the Jesus scenes, but the parking lot scene is just an escalation of everything that's been coming this entire film.
Jader back, but not Kyle.
All right. But everything that's becoming this entire film, and watching all our favorite characters together, and John Goodman just going full John Goodman in this movie, calling them nihilists the entire time, and that whole fight. That's what I really remember about this film when I think about it, is that scene specifically. So that'd be my choice for this category. Let's move on.
I didn't hear which scene you said. Was it the fight with the nihilists?
Yes. The parking lot scene.
Parking lot fight. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such
I fuck you.
We're gonna get a lot of impersonations on this, I feel like, especially with this next category right here, best line. So, when you think of this one, what's your favorite line that you always go back to? I'll start this one. So mine goes back to an interaction between Jesus and the dude, which are probably some of my favorite scenes in the movie, also. And it's comes from Jesus Quintana when he's like, "Let me tell you something, pendejo. You pull any of your take that away from me. I'm gonna stick up your ass with the fucking trigger until you goes click." That whole interaction between the two is so funny, because Jesus in 2-3 scenes in this film, and he leaves we're gonna get to that probably soon.
Obviously, yeah.
He leaves such a huge impression. So yeah, that's where
the first half of the line. I know what line he's going with. It's a great line.
Jader, why don't you take off from here? What do you got?
Well, I'm honestly going really simple with these, to be honest with you. It's just this movie's so fucking quotable.
Well, yeah, just has some pretty quotable lines in this.
Yeah, this movie has so many great quotes, but for me, like well, that's like your opinion, man. I love that line. I wrote down that one. Hey, nice marmot. always gets to me every time when the ferret comes in. That shit kills me every time. Obviously, you're not a golfer.
Yes, I was just thinking of that one right there.
You know, so you know the dude abides. It's just there's so many great quotes on it for this film, dude. But yeah, those are probably mine. But well, man, that's like your opinion is probably. I want that on a fucking t-shirt.
Well, it's funny because that comes in the same interaction that I just chose for my quote. So,
yeah.
Craig, do you got another Jesus line in there, or are you going somewhere else?
So the line I'm going to go with is actually from the. It's my favorite in the TV edited version of the film, which is in the because it's with a movie that has this many curse words and this many usages of the F word, you get really funny. Yeah, they gave the dude a beep. They have. You get some really creative usages of ways to edit the lines. And so my favorite is, you see what happens, Larry? You see what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps?
I know exactly what you're talking about, dude.
Yeah, exactly. But other than that, I really love Steve Buscemi's repeated line of "I am the walrus." I am the walrus. Like they're doing like the dude and Walter are just going back and forth, and he just keeps saying, "I am the walrus. I am the walrus."
So good, dude.
It's so funny to think about too, because one of the details I found when I was doing my research is almost every line of this film. Hey, there he goes, the nodding. Every line of this film is written out by the Coens. And there's only one line. It was from John Goodman. That was I can't take him seriously. There's only one line by the Coens that was actually improv, and that was from Goodman. Goodman, the Parquois scene, the Parquois line. Yeah. That's the only line that's improv in this film.
Wait,
everything is written by the Coens except for John Goodman improvising that Parquois line. Go ahead, Craig.
Which line did you say? The Parquois? What's the Parquois line?
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick. Like I said again. Oh, human Parquois.
Oh, you human Paraquois?
Yeah.
Human Paraquois.
So yeah, that's it's pretty fascinating to think of all that. This whole movie feels like it could have been improv, especially interactions between Jesus and the dude or John just yelling. It feels like it could, but the fact that the Coens wrote all this stuff is just a testament to how great they are. So let's move on. Let's go to the Mahershala Ali Award for Best Sharpshooter. So the guy who's in the film for a couple scenes but leaves a huge impression in that moment. I'm not actually going to
Okay, go ahead. I was going to say, is this going to be unanimous?
Oh, I don't know anymore. Okay, so Jader, you go first then. Who is it?
John Turturro.
Maybe. I mean, like when we say like how many scenes, because I'm gonna nod my head because I can't hear anything. Sorry.
Go ahead.
All right. So has anyone gone yet? All right.
No one's gone yet.
All right. I'll go first with this one, but it's gonna take me a second because, the thing with this movie is that there are so many different characters that most of them have, only a couple. So like a lot of them only have a couple scenes.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go off script from what you guys are gonna go with my favorite. This is gonna be a shout out to. I used to work in talent representation, and one of our clients is a man named Richard Gant.
Okay.
And he has a total of 3 lines in this film. He is the black police officer who accompanies Christian Clemenson when they're in the scene taking his police report about his stolen car. And I argue that this should get put on his reel. I don't know if it still is or not, but I was trying hard to make sure this got put on his reel. But when I went back to rewatch it, it's like this scene, like he only has 3 lines in the entire film. But like when I first started working there and saw his picture, I was like, oh, Big Lebowski. And then I went back and rewatched. It's like he's in the movie for 1 scene and has 3 lines, but he's so recognizable in it. And it's like he's the entire time Christian Clemenson, who plays the other police officer, is just going about his the whole thing about the taking the details of everything. And Richard Gant's just sitting there just like staring at things. He picks up the bowling pin bowl. And then at the end, Christian Clemens is like, I wouldn't hold out much hope for the tape deck. And Richard Gant comes in with, the credence.
That's an interesting choice because that's not someone I would have thought of for this award. Jader, who do you got for this?
I went with the obvious, man, with John Turturro. That for me,
yeah. I mean, he's the obvious, but it's funny is when you think it's like he's only in like how many scenes? Like
2 or 3. That's it.
Yeah, that's why. And he leaves an impact.
Good.
Imagine they made a whole. They made a whole sequel.
They did
like spin-off film based off his character alone.
Yeah.
So that's the impact he left, man.
Yeah.
And just like Kyle, that scene kills me every time too. I crack up, dude. The everything about his introduction, dude. It's so funny, man. So that for me, that he's the sharpshooter in the film.
You don't fuck with the Jesus.
So and honestly, that introduction scene for Johnson. And by the way, like Jesus is clearly the most correct answer for this. Yeah. But I needed to go with someone else to give us some variety, because there's so many amazing, just like small performances in this movie. But when you talk about that introduction scene, like I actually can transport myself 22 years in the past and remember when I watched that in the theater, and just like seeing that scene for the first time was just pure hilarious, brilliant absurdity, and we were all just rolling in the seats watching this. It was just like he licks the bowling ball.
Yeah, I did it. Whatever.
Like
I'm like
doing the dance. It's just like
no. It's
my God,
fantastic, and it's exactly what you said. You described it perfectly. It's absurd, man. Yeah. It's absurd, dude.
My choice is actually going to be Julianne Moore here as Maud Lebowski. The reason why I go with her, she's not in that many scenes, but her introduction, man, when she just comes flying in on the ceiling naked, doing her art, it's like, whoa, who's this character now?
It's funny because I can't hear Kyle, but I just saw Jader do that, so I don't know what he was talking. Which character are you talking about? Like, what are we?
I went with Julianne Moore as Maud Lebowski. This is
okay. So you're going the painting. Okay, I thought you were talking about like the ninja fighting with the nihilist.
Oh no.
Which nihilist is he talking about? Flea?
No, I'm going with Moore here because I feel like she's probably the most forgotten person when we think about this film. You think about Goodman, you think about Bridges, you think about Jesus, you think about Buscemi, but Moore isn't really talked about in this when you think about the Big Lebowski. But when you watch it, all her scenes really stand out because she's like, throughout the film, you're thinking about her. Like, when's he going to get back with her? Are they going to have sex at any point in this film? Is there a connection there? So I think she's really strong in this. And for her to be coming, the 90s was a great decade for Julianne Moore. And for her I think Boogie Nights was what, 94?
What?
I believe
no, Boogie Nights was 97? I think 90. No, it was like 99, wasn't it? Or 90, 97? 97, I think.
97. So she would get 97. She was having a run right now with Lebowski and Boogie Nights, like back.
Jurassic World. She had Jurassic World too in 1997. Remember that?
Exactly.
World 97. Oh, I remember that. If you've not seen my Jurassic World, not Jurassic World, The Lost World Jurassic Park. If you've not seen my Jurassic Park exhibition match, I remember that film very well.
Yeah, Boogie Nights. Boogie Nights was 97.
Yeah.
So yeah, she was on a little mini run right there. To me, this is the person I think about a lot whenever we watch this film. And for her just to go all out, naked, flying across the ceiling, and that's your introduction to her, it's great. So I'm going with Julianne Moore for this award. We're gonna move on to the Bill Murray award for best cameo. This is easy to me. It's the person who ends this film. This is Sam Elliott's award, right?
Yep, that was my picks. I love Sam Elliott.
I mean, first off, Sam Elliott is fantastic. I'm going to see if I can. You guys talk about Sam Elliott. I'm going to take a second to think if there's anyone else that I would give this to, so that we have another person.
Well, so here's the thing. Like with Sam Elliott, it reminds me of something like the Coens like to do, and they did this, I think, the best with No Country, is having like a monologue end their film. And, Tommy Lee Jones has a great monologue at the end of No Country for Old Men. But Sam Elliott at the end of this one is really, he really like puts a stamp on this. He ends it well. And is he even real? That's a question we should ask.
This stranger, I think he was in the dude's head, to be honest with you.
No, he's not the dude's head. He is the narrator of the film who breaks the fourth wall to he asks some of the like, the only thing, do you have to cuss so much, dude? and he's a what did he say? The fuck you mean? Something like that. He's like,
Yeah.
It's so it's like it's clear that he's been the omniscient narrator watching the film the whole time, who just happens to like insert himself into the action for one great scene in the middle.
Right.
So I mean, it's hard to argue with that. I'm just as the choice. I'm just trying to think of an alternate so that we have a
I mean, a cameo stuff. It's
a
like
variety.
I
mean, is Philip Seymour Hoffman?
Can I go with Philip Seymour Hoffman? I don't think that counts as a cameo because this was early enough in his career that he wasn't a cameo worthy person, but he steals the scene and all of the scenes. I guess he doesn't count as a cameo. I don't know. I'll think.
What about Peter Stormare?
Even then, like still there, that was like so early in his career, it doesn't really count as a cameo. Like it was just, he'd really before this had only just done Fargo, and I think Armageddon came out after this that year. I think this was
Armageddon came out in '98, right?
Yeah, this was also yeah. So, but I think this was like earlier in the year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I guess it's the I guess Sam Elliott's the really the best choice.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's really the only choice we can go. I mean, you want to go Fleet? Nah, not really. He's not the best cameo. The best cameo, I think, goes to Elliott. And honestly, Elliott is such a presence on screen. Even just seeing that mustache, you focus on
every time, man, every time. I love me Sam Elliott.
So yeah, I think Elliott is our choice for this.
We will do consensus on this one. Consensus.
There we go. Let's go with the Gary Oldman award for the Gary Oldman Everyone Award for Best Overacting. This is where I go, Jesus. This isn't where I go, John Turturro. This is not an insult award like we point out every week. This is an 80% compliment, 20% insult award. John Turturro had so much freedom with this character to make it whatever he wanted. And one of the details I read was that the script, and when he read it, he saw that his part was so small that the Coens gave him freedom to do whatever he wanted with this character. So he went all out, just nuts with this person. And like we mentioned so many times before in this podcast, he is so memorable. And I think his overacting is the reason why it's so memorable. You don't forget that character. So this is who I go with for best overacting. Craig, who do you got, man?
I considered Jesus for it, but at the end of the day, while that character is so loud and bright, I feel like it is exactly what it needed to be, what he needed to be for this film. So for me, I went with David Thewlis as Knox Harrington. His giggles are just so over the top. He's like that scene with Mod, he's like, like the dude's like, who the fuck is this guy? But it's like, and again, you can still like look, it's a Coen Brothers film, so everyone is supposed to be a heightened
everyone.
But I think David Thewlis, he has one scene and he just giggles his way through it so much in such a bizarre way, and it works so well. But at the same time, I would put that as my overacting award.
Jader, who do you got, man?
I actually had Julianne Moore.
Oh,
and yeah, see, I had Julianne Moore there, and it's not so much the it was the whole accent thing for me, since I had seen her in previous films, that and for me it's more of it that she's great in the film and I love her, but it's just I could never get past the accent for some reason. Every time, even till now when I watch this film, and again, it's not overacting, it's just who I had in mind. I had John Turturro at first, but then for me, I think he's more deserving of the Ali Award, of the Mahershala Ali Award versus her, because I had John Goodman originally for the Mahershala Ali.
Oh, but he's in too many scenes. Can't do it.
Yeah. No. For Sharpshooter.
Oh, Sharpshooter.
But then, but again, I couldn't. So it's basically that, and it's more. You know how you said it's complimentary or this. It's more this. Because I can't get past the accent. Even now watching this film, I'm used to it now, but I still kind of cringe sometimes. But that was my choice, to be honest.
It's funny. We're right now. Last Jedi's on the television right next to me as we're doing this, and then we were doing overacting. And I look over to the TV and I see Benicio del Toro doing his weird twitch thing or stutter with his speech. I was like, that would be a good choice when we do Last Jedi.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah,
So,
no. Can I say? Oh, I just want to say real quick, just in terms of the John Goodman aspect of all this, because like I think there some people may look at this and think that John Goodman's overacting with his explosiveness in this, but it's like I myself deal with PTSD to some extent, and it's I was never in the military or anything like his character was, but it's something I take medication for. But it's my exposure to PTSD just came from being in a fight or flight. I was in a fight or flight scenario for several days, and like at that point, the having done so, what it does is it fries your ability to regulate your emotions, so that like you're automatically put into this fight or flight scenario. Just in regular basis. And it's like having gone through that and experiencing that, rewatching Big Lebowski after that, it's very clear that this is what John Goodman's character is doing. Like he's not over. He's like he is. They never say it at all, but like he is. Really what PTSD is for me, at least, is it just causes me to overreact to things, and that's clearly what he's doing. I don't break a gun out on the lanes, but he's like, like in the coffee shop and like everywhere. So like anytime he gets angry, he just goes from 1 to 100 immediately, and it's like it's just really interesting having had that personal experience with it to see how well it's represented here. And it's like he's and now clearly he is it's not all just the condition, because he is one of my favorite lines in the film is I wish I would have mentioned this when we were talking about favorite lines, but we're talking about when the dude's saying, when he's telling the dude, like, am I wrong? He's like, no, you're not wrong, Walter. You're just an asshole. So that's still like, he still has his, his own opinions and whatnot. It's not just the PTSD, but it's clear that the PTSD is just such a large part of his character, even though it goes completely unsaid throughout the entire film. There's no actual mention that this is what's going on, but it's very clear, to me now watching it. It's like he behaves in this way because of what because of that.
Yeah.
Very well said. Yeah, I think we're gonna get to John Goodman when I think for a couple of more awards coming up. I got some quick details. Casting what ifs. This is gonna be a very short category because I found out that this movie was written with Bridges, Goodman, Buscemi, Moore, all in mind for their roles, and that's who the Coen brothers got for every single thing, which is
amazing.
Incredible.
That's amazing.
One casting what if though, and that is Charlize Theron was considered for the role of Bunny Lebowski very briefly. And then they ultimately moved on from her. That would have been something interesting. Look at Craig. What do you think about that?
I know what you're thinking.
That's not Buddy, that's Maud. But
that's right.
It's interesting because I recall Charlize's debut film that came out around the same time, which was 2 Days in the Valley, which I think that was a '96 film.
Yeah.
It's interesting because what she would bring to the film if she was in it instead of
Tara Reid.
Tara Reid would be. Excuse me, I've got the Truly's bubbling up. There we go. Anyway, if she was in it instead of Tara Reid, it's like she's got more going on behind the eyes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like even like her early work, it's like so when all this is going on about like maybe she kidnapped herself, I feel like that would add another layer because she would, but Bunny is very ditzy as is in this film. But like, there's a version of this where it's like, when she says, I'll suck your cock for $1,000, that sort of thing. It's like, there's a version of this where she could be not ditzy, where she could be more like conniving and manipulative, where it could be very clear that she knows what's very clear that she could be, doing it. But then even then, it's like I don't think that she, it would be a little different. I think Tara Reid was the correct choice.
She was, and I just think it would have been a really different take on the character if Charlize would have done it. And it's something fascinating to think about. Well, that's why I love this category of casting what ifs, because it really puts your perspective on different people who could have been in this and how the movie might have changed. We did it with Oceans just a couple of weeks ago, and I thought there were so many for that one that could have been fun. Yeah. Some interesting details real quick. So this is John Goodman's favorite movie.
I can see you. Cow's frozen for me though.
Okay. Well, if you want to relay that to him, Jader, this is John Goodman's favorite movie in which he's been in.
Nice. The one thing that I will say in terms of the casting what ifs of this is that the Coen brothers, throughout their career have basically, they almost work with like a repertoire theater company. They reuse the same actors over and over and over again, which is one of the great things about watching their filmography. And so it's no surprise that they wrote this film with like people in mind for almost every role, because they'd already worked with all these people and said, oh, this will be great. This will be great for John Polito. This will be great for John Goodman. This will be great. It's not surprising, and it's one of those things that I just love about them so much.
It makes you wonder if like Frances McDormand was ever considered for Maude at one point. That's something that could be possible, just knowing the Coen brothers, but we didn't get that. So I got another interesting fact right here. Before filming a scene, Jeff Bridges would frequently ask the Coen brothers, did the dude burn one on the way over? If they said yes, he would take his knuckles and rub his eyes so that they're red all around. I think that's fascinating. Like that Bridges was just so into this character. Did he light one up before this scene? All right.
Yeah, I remember that too. I saw that interview where he said that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I think it's pretty funny. John Goodman.
The answer was always yes.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. So yeah, a lot of the dude's clothing was actually Jeff Bridges' clothes. Even the sandals, the jacket, or the shirt, everything. A lot of it was Jeff Bridges' own clothes that he had in his home. I'm pretty sure he still has it today. Of course. The dude says the word man 147 times in this film. So that relates to like one every minute and a half.
Wow.
Jesus, man.
What else do we got here? That's really it. I had a bunch more, but I lost my notes. So let's move on to. Am I missing any? Okay, let's move on to Apex Mountain. Let's do one of the big awards here. Does anybody have an Apex Mountain in this film? Is this the top of this person's career for almost any single film? I think there's a couple in here, and I think the two main actors qualified for this. I think Jeff Bridges and John Goodman both qualify for this award. Let's just start there. So Bridges, is this his Apex Mountain?
Apex.
Where you got Bridges, Goodman? So let's talk about it here. So John Goodman, like I said before, he says this is his favorite film that he's ever been in, the most fun he's ever had, and you can see why. He puts his all into this. He really got passionate about it and what this character brought to this film. So when you look at John Goodman, he's mostly been like a supporting character in a lot of things. Someone that you like, Mahershala Ali for our awards. That's really what he's done for most of his career. Someone who's just strong in everything he's in. And this film, it feels like it's almost his, but the dude is such a powerful character that you can't take away from that. So I think he's definitely someone we should talk about for this award. Craig, I don't know. How do you feel about this?
So I didn't know exactly what Apex Mountain meant, and but if you're saying is this the apex of their career, then I would definitely say yes for both Jeff Bridges and John Goodman. They were both at the top of their game here, and I think that the entirety of the film is just about the this kind of the dichotomy of those two characters. You've got and it's funny, not even just those two characters, but like the tripod of Donnie as well. You've got the peace loving hippie, and you've got the army that and then Donnie was a pacifist. So it's the he's the third leg of their tripod, but it's the entire film is like a philosophical discussion between those two sides. But done so with just absurdist humor throughout. I would almost put this as Apex Mountain.
Oh,
did we freeze?
Oh, yeah.
I think he was going Jeff Bridges. So let's talk about Jeff Bridges for a sec.
I thought he was going to say the Coens.
See, that's a different discussion for me. I think the Coens is No Country for Old Men. I think that's their apex. But they have so many strong things that.
Well, that and this is honestly this is why I love film. Film is so freaking subjective. Yeah. I thought No Country was. I've only seen it once because I thought it was so overrated for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I have to revisit it, obviously. But I thought the first time I saw that movie, everybody had blown it up for me. I thought Javier Bardem was phenomenal in it. But that story did not capture me whatsoever.
Real quick, Jader, do you want to? Okay, yeah, he's gone. Tell him to come back, and then we'll keep going with this. But so Coen Brothers, to me, when we talk about Apex Mountain, it's about the peak of your career. Like, is it ever going to get any better than this? And to me, people look at No Country for Old Men as such a touchstone of cinema history. When you look out here, he's back.
Oh, there you go. Right.
All right, we got you, Craig. Where were you going with that, man? Who you were saying you might also give this to who?
John Turturro. I would almost say this is like John Turturro's Apex Mountain as well.
Yes.
This is the most notable thing he's ever done. And he's fantastic in a lot of things. If no one's watched the miniseries The Night Of, he is incredible in The Night Of.
I love that. I love that series. It's so great. That was so great.
But this is like a career defining moment for him, where it's like, he was just kind of like a character actor who flew under the radar in so many things, and in this, it's like he just pops on the screen so much that he's, like you said, he has his own spin-off film because of it. He's just such a it's such a fun moment. Yeah, so I think it's Apex Mountain for all three of those.
For me, with Goodman, the only thing that he has going against him is the Flintstones film. My opinion, he was a killer, Fred Flintstone.
I think Monsters Inc. is something we should also bring up too, because that's a very significant film for history of animated. So I think that's one we should bring up. But it's hard not to argue against this because he loves it so much. So we got Bridges. So Bridges, let's talk about too for Apex Mountain. So Jeff Bridges, I say yes because this is the film that everyone thinks of when they think of Jeff Bridges. He is this
immediately.
Person. He came back to this for like a alcohol commercial last year's Super Bowl. He was the dude, and it just feels like something he's always willing to talk about. He always wants to have conversations about the dude and the Big Lebowski because it is him. And when I watch him in other films, like I love something like Bad Times at El Royale was one of my favorite movies of 2018. I actually think it was my favorite. But when I watch him, I think of the dude first, and then I go into his character. So I would say yes to Apex Mountain for Jeff Bridges as well.
It's funny because when I saw Lebowski at the age that I did, I knew him from Tron because I grew up watching the Tron film, right? And then I think
you mean the original Tron film, not Tron, not the second one, right? Not Tron Legacy.
No. Yeah, the original Tron.
It's making a joke.
The 82 Tron was the first. I had seen that one before. I was excited as hell for Legacy because I saw the original Tron. But besides that, I didn't see anything else with him until I think I saw Blown Away with Tommy Lee Jones and Jeff Bridges, which is excellent. I love that movie.
Oh yeah, I love that movie too.
Yeah. And then after that, after I saw Big Lebowski, I thought he was hilarious as a dude, as a young kid. And then that's when I was obviously started going more to the theater. Then I would see him in almost every song in The Contender, Arlington Road, K-Pax, whatever he was in. I started noticing who Jeff Bridges, and he had I don't want to say a solidified career, but he had a career way before Lebowski,
Yeah, he'd been nominated for he'd been nominated for Oscars a couple times before that.
Yeah. And then for me, it's Same thing. Every time you say Jeff Bridges, it's the dude. It automatically comes to my head. So that's why I had put him down for the Apex. For me, I was talking to Kyle, and he just obviously he thinks that the Coen's best is No Country. For me,
Apex. I put that as their Apex.
For me, it's between Fargo and this. I was telling Kyle that I wasn't a huge No Country for Old Men fan.
Hot take.
I know it is a very hot take. But I love. There you go. So yeah, for the Coens, for me, it's between this and Fargo as their best. And I slightly give it to Fargo. But they have, again, so many films in their filmography that people can, again, this guy disagrees and this guy has something completely different under them. So
I mean, it's definitely my favorite Coen Brothers film, but it's a matter of in terms of favorite versus best. It's hard to say. Also, there's two different versions of Coen Brothers films. They make two types of movies. They make super serious, not super serious, semi-serious dramas with a touch of absurd comedy in them, like Fargo was, and then they do just straight comedies like this and like Lady Killers. So I know most people's second Coen brother film they go to isn't Lady Killers, but I enjoy it anyway. But the point is, they bounce back and forth in tone between the two, and this is even though it's my favorite, I don't think I'd put it at Apex Mountain, only because I feel like Fargo is a better movie, and I would almost say maybe No Country for Old Men is a better movie, even though this is my favorite movie. So I wouldn't put this as Apex Mountain for the Coen brothers.
All right, I got a couple Schmodown questions for you guys, so get ready. I got a 2, 3, and a 5. Get ready, all right?
All right. Give me them in reverse order. I want them in reverse order.
Oh, you want the top one first?
Wait. Do you have one for each of us, or do we have to write them down on our boards? Hold on.
Let's you know what, Jader, you have a pen in front of you?
I do.
All right, let's write them down here. All right, I'll give you 15 seconds for each question after I say it. Ready?
All right.
What is the dude's first name? So we're gonna. The dude, obviously, his last name is Lebowski, but what is his actual first name? Let me know when you got it.
I'm good.
5. All right, so let's move on to the next question. What is the dude's favorite drink?
These are both 2-pointers. Yeah, they're like 1-pointers, really.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of it, these are one. I got a big 5-pointer coming up right here.
Yeah, that's probably the one that I'm gonna miss.
Okay, you guys both got it?
Yeah.
All right, finally.
I got to nod because I can't hear Kyle right now. If he's asking a 5-pointer.
5. All right, so Jader, you might have to repeat this to him, and if he's still nodding, he's still nodding. Okay.
All right.
John Goodman, Steve Buscemi, and John Turturro. Craig, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Pineapple.
All right. John Goodman, Steve Buscemi, and John Turturro have appeared together in one other film. What is that film?
Another 2-pointer.
Oh, okay. Jader, think about it, man.
You want me to give you a hint, Jader?
No. Hold on.
No hints? I can give you a hint.
No.
Tell me you want a hint. You want multiple choice?
No.
No, that would give it away.
I wouldn't give it away. I can give a multiple choice without giving it away.
What's the hint, Craig? Give Jader a hint.
You want the hint? The hint is it won the Palme d'Or.
Oh, that fucking does not help me right now.
Just write something down, Jader. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. All right. So, what is the dude's first name, guys? What do you got?
I got Jeffrey.
Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I got. There we go. So here are the answers. I wrote them all down here. So we got Jeffrey is the first name, White Russian's the drink, and Barton Fink, Palme d'Or winner for the Coen brothers.
Barton Fink.
Yep. Turturro, Jeff Goodman, and Steve Buscemi.
That is actually not the answer I was looking for the last one.
Well, then your question's incorrect because all three of them are in Barton Fink.
Well, let me give you the other one that I had then.
What?
Transformers: The Last Night.
That's what I wrote.
Is that really?
I swear to God, I wrote Transformers: The Last Night. And then I was like, wait, was it Monsters Inc.? And I second guessed myself. Jeffrey.
Wait.
because they voiced it.
Hold on, Steve Buscemi wasn't in Transformers: The Dark Knight.
Yes,
Yes, it was.
The last night. Wait, who was he in that? Who was he in Transformers?
He was a
Dark Knight. Okay,
you got it.
Fuck, what was his name, dude?
He's a day trader.
Yeah.
He's a day trader. Okay, I need to go back and rewatch that. I know he's one of Michael Bay's guys, so it shouldn't really surprise me. But
yeah. But they were also in Barton Fink. That's awesome.
Yeah. Wait. Let me ask you. Did you say John Goodman, John Turturro, and Steve Buscemi?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because they're definitely all three in Barton Fink. Like the majority of the film is John Turturro and John Goodman, and then Steve Buscemi works at the hotel that they're staying in. So
IMDb lied to me on this. All right, so let's move on to.
Hey, wait, let me double check and make sure I'm not screwing myself over here with bad knowledge. Let me just double check.
Let's see, Barton Fink.
I swear Steve Buscemi was in Barton Fink. That's one of the.
I know. Barton Fink definitely has John Turturro and John Goodman.
Yeah, they're like the two. They're the two co.
Yeah.
Buscemi is in it. Buscemi is in it.
Yeah, there we go. He plays Chet. He works at the hotel. Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to our last category then. Who won the movie? Who is the winner of this film? When you think about The Big Lebowski, who is the winner of this film?
The audience. I mean, no. I mean, I'm just like that. This is a masterpiece of cinema, and we are all better for having seen it.
All right. I mean, listen, that was not the answer I was expecting, but he's absolutely right.
He is right.
It's one of those films that gets better and better.
If you want me to say somebody involved with the film, I would go with the Coen brothers as the winner of this film, because this was them coming off of Fargo, which, to this point, at this point in their career, they had
Raising Arizona.
Yeah, they had Raising Arizona, and they had they had a couple early movies too, and then they had Barton Fink as a Palme d'Or, but it wasn't like a big commercial success, and didn't even get much traction at the Oscars. And then immediately before this, they had The Hudsucker Proxy, which was a huge bomb and considered one of their worst films. And so for them to go from that to Fargo, which showed they've got they can do. Oscar bait type movies, but for them to go from that to this and just really showcase their zaniness, their kind of like, they built such a loyal fan base from this movie alone. I think like this movie alone has had so many people just buy tickets to any other film that they've made.
It's a fair response. I went.
Kyle's frozen.
All right, I'm frozen, so I'm gonna talk real quick. I went in so many different directions with this one because I think there's a lot of answers to this. You could go with the Coen brothers like Craig did. You could go with someone like Jeff Bridges, who obviously is the dude. I'd go with John Goodman, though. John Goodman wins the award to me, and here's why. I think his loudness and also his friendship with Lebowski is kind of like also the brain behind the film. It's the mind behind the film. It's not the heart, because Goodman's obviously the heart. Not Goodman. Bridges obviously is the heart. Yeah. But Goodman is the mouth. He's the one that I hear the most when I watch this film, the one that I see the most. So when I think of Goodman's career, like I said, Apex Mountain, this is what I think of. And that's a strong testament considering how well Jeff Bridges is in this film as the dude. Mm-hmm. I don't see John Goodman as a person when I see Jeff Bridges as the dude in normal life. So I'm going to go John Goodman here. Jader, who you got?
That's who I have. I had Coen and Goodman, actually. I had them slashed. Same thing. And I actually do want to go I would probably go with Goodman overall. It's the same thing. It's just when you think Bridges, you think the dude. I used to think Fred Flintstone. That's not even a joke, because that honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I grew up watching that Flintstones movie, and I loved it growing up, But every time I think John Goodman, I think of Walter automatically. That loudness, his, the way the rural strickler, everything about that. Yeah, dude, everything about him and that character is just so fantastic. And he just makes that film, again, not just him, it's the whole ensemble, honestly. That film is just so enjoyable. But I look forward to every time he snaps and where he's gonna, like, I'm like, oh, it's coming, like that the scene's coming where he like loses his shit. So I always look forward to those scenes the most. So yeah.
So Craig, final thoughts. Tell me why Big Lebowski is a masterpiece.
I mean, it's feel like masterpieces are like pornography. You just know them when you see them. That's the yeah. But in general though, it's like this movie just hits on all cylinders. It can make you laugh. It can make you cry. It's like it's an absurd comedy with reality in it as well, like realism and whatnot too. It is a period piece. It's very much a film of it's supposed to take place in like the early 90s and like 91, I think. And even though it's released in 98, and it's I don't know, I think we've really covered all the reasons why it's such a masterpiece in this conversation.
Yeah. For me, just piggybacking off what he says, it really is something. It's just such a rewatchable film, and it's so quotable. Stands the test of time because you can show people new film buffs or cinephiles, and you show them like there's we come at all on all ages. There's again, I had my show with the nobodies and anything before the year 2000, some of them hadn't seen. And I guarantee you, I can show you this film to a bunch of that new cinephiles. They're like, man, this movie hits. I did that actually with Steph when I showed it to her we saw it for the first time during the quarantine. She had never seen it. She's like, oh, I always hear big talk about this film, and I'm like, dude, this movie is amazing. You need to watch it. And she, at first, also couldn't. She liked it, but she was like, oh.
Jader's frozen for me. Let me know when Jader's making his point because I want to add something to it.
He's still going. Right. Go ahead, Jader.
So yeah, so then it's one of those things where she saw it for the first time, she didn't she didn't get it. She thought it was funny. And I remember we saw the movie in 2 parts where we saw the first half first. We had to shut it off because it was late, and then I finished it the next day with her. And right before we started rewatching it, finishing the second half of the film, she said that while during the day, she was just thinking about it. She's like, that movie is really funny. Like it took her like a little bit to really start getting the jokes or whatever. And then once the movie ended, she's like, I need to see this movie again, like right now. And she actually enjoyed herself watching it. I remember I was watching Raising Arizona, and she was like, Big Lebowski is better. She fell in love with Fargo, though.
Have you proposed to her yet?
Man, I should have seen that shit coming. I'm
just saying, she's a keeper. You talk about this like, look, kids, I don't know, were you waiting for a live show or something? We're not gonna have live shows for like 3 years. I kid. I hope I kid.
Please hope you're kidding, dude.
But
I'm already planning my trip back to LA next year.
To add on to what you were saying though, Jader, is that in terms of it being rewatchable, it's like, look, I've gone back and watch for the first time some movies that were considered classics that I just had never for one reason or another seen, or even movies that weren't classics, and things like Rush Hour and Animal House and I'm trying to think of another Pretty in Pink, and these movies while you can like watch them and say, okay, I respect what they did here. They have so many things in them that it's like you can't put in a movie today. Like Rush Hour, you have a cop saying the N-word in a bar full of black men as an excuse to start a bar fight between Jackie Chan and a bunch of black men, and it's like. It's
that won't fly nowadays, man.
You can't do that. You could barely do that in '98. But it's like there is nothing about this film, so far as I'm aware or can tell, that has aged poorly whatsoever. Like there's a lot of stuff in Animal House that's aged poorly too, and it's a little
no, it's a lot. It's crazy. It's crazy that. It's crazy that you mentioned that because I forgot. But I forgot what movie I was watching.
Exactly, but this movie just it stands. It's Jader was saying, it just stands the test of time.
It's really interesting because this film is one of those that gained the following over time, because it was not a box office success. Made 5-6 million opening weekend, 48 million worldwide at the end of it all. It's not a box office hit even in the 90s. That's not something that you look back at as a big success. But over time, like we mentioned at the beginning of this, there's 3 films you think of when you think of the Coens, and that's No Country, Fargo, and The Big Lebowski. And for some people, The Big Lebowski might even be the one you said for you, Craig. That's the one you think of the most. This is your favorite one out of the 3. So I think the legacy of this is only getting stronger and stronger. And then obviously John Turturro making the Jesus Rolls as a sequel is another thing that shows just how big and impactful this is. So that's how I leave with this film. Thank you, everybody, for watching with us. That's going to do it for episode 15 of the Jader and Kyle Show. Craig, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on, man. You're one of my favorite guests. The whole nodding experience has been Craig, what do you want to plug, man? What do you got going on?
So my semifinals match of the Intergeekdom tournament drops this week. It's tomorrow for $10 patrons, and then it's Tuesday for all patrons, and then Thursday for YouTube for the general audiences. It is easily the biggest challenge I've had yet in the Schmodown, and it's I'll just say this: I don't think the match is going to disappoint. I think fans are going to watch this match and say, "Wow!" But and then other than that, I'll just plug my social media. I'm on Instagram with at Barbarian Craig. I'm on Twitch at twitch.tv/Mogwai417. Mogwai is in the Gremlins, MOGWAI 417.
The Mogwais.
Exactly. And then I'm also on Instagram at CF Gaynier. That's C as in Craig, F as in Frank, and then my last name Gaynier, which is French for to win.
Oof.
Yep.
I'm
a winner. Winning's in my blood, Jader.
He was born that way.
There you go, brother. There you go. I was born this way. Nobody?
Perfect.
No Lady Gaga fans over here. Hey, this man is
I
killer in karaoke. This guy's killer in karaoke, dude. He loves that shit.
Yeah, go to my basically go to my Twitch stream. All it is like me posting karaoke videos.
Yeah, dude, I promise you. I karaoke'd with him once.
Yeah, you did. It was great.
Must watch, people. You please get on that.
Can't wait, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, 50 people Bohemian Rhapsody was great.
Jader, any last things you want to say, man?
I can't announce anything just yet, but just keep following the show, please, and be nice to me, guys. I don't know.
We got a singles tournament coming up.
Yeah, we got a singles tournament coming up.
This could be a preview of the tournament finals right here. These two.
The finals right here.
You never know. It's definitely possible. So we can get all rookie finals, which would be excellent to watch.
That would be phenomenal.
We're definitely going to be talking about it on the show. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. We'll be back next week on Friday, so it's going to be a shorter week until we get to it. We have someone planned in mind. We'll tell you if we can confirm that. But yeah, stay tuned, everyone. It's going to be fun. So for Jader, for Craig, for me, thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week on the Jader and Kyle Show.
Later, guys.